Hello and welcome to the Easily Excitable podcast. My name is Top and with me this week is Russell. Hey man, how's it going?
I'm doing very well, thank you, good sir. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing alright, yeah, it just seems to be one thing after another at the moment, but like, it's pretty much always how it is, isn't it? So, yeah.
Is this early English summer getting to you? It was the hottest day of the year so far down here in London, 29.4.
Oh my, it was 28 here, and yeah, luckily I'm in an air-conditioned office, so, you know, I haven't had to deal with it that much.
Yeah, it works fine. The tube is a little bit stuffy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Crazy. Did you go to MCM the other weekend? Oh, that was a month ago, wasn't it? Jeez.
No, I didn't. I was in Belgium that weekend playing in a frisbee tournament.
Ah, fair enough. How did that go?
That went good. That was a lot of drinking and a lot of exercise. But the tournament is organised such that there isn't any morning games, effectively. So
Nice.
it's almost clientele is directly aimed at people who enjoy the game, but are really there more for a good piss up.
Ah, fair enough. Cool. What else do I want to ask you? Yeah, RTX is coming up. Are you going to RTX in the States?
Yes, I'm going to be a guardian,
Guardian
in the response team. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought we'd discussed that before, but I'm just like, yeah, it's been a while. It's been some time.
Yeah,
since we caught up, so.
I'm going. I'm actually going to go watch the Let's Play Live that they're going to do on the Thursday beforehand. So.
Oh, nice.
Because we just double checked and found out the Guardians weren't. Well, some of the Guardians are going to do it, but not all of the Guardians were needed, so we could go watch it live. So that'd be cool to kind of just like tack on something else to kind of like the weekend. There seems to be a plan to do more evening event this time round than what they've done previously. So we will see.
Is that like theatre mode and things like that?
So
like
theatre
late on the spot and things like that.
I think this is going to do theatre mode. They're going to do another Always Open. I think they're doing some film showings as well. So I think they're going to show Bloodfest.
Oh, cool.
I think there's some other stuff, other films that they've been doing some work with, or some other animation stuff that's going to be shown on some of the evenings as well. So they're really trying to make sure that they have all of your time for the for the weekend that you're in Austin. But no, as I think I said before, I'm looking forward to seeing, almost like completing my RTX experience. So. Done the normie, done the VIP. Now go as the Guardian and kind of close that off.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not making it to any RTX this year, so I don't really know what to make of it. Actually, I've kind of like stopped watching things and listening to things in general. I maybe listen to a few podcasts here and there, but I'm kind of focusing on listening to podcasts and listening to music, but I just don't find myself ever being like, I'm going to watch specifically some Rooster Teeth stuff and things like that. Sure, I'll get back into it in a few months, I reckon, or in a few weeks, but at the moment I'm just like, I just need to chill out and have a bit of space and work on other things and learn some other stuff. So yeah, it's been a while since I haven't caught up with RVB, and I'm just like, I kind of want to catch up with RVB, but at the same time, not too concerned.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it doesn't have the same like hardcore following as like Ruby does, so you can fairly get away with kind of like not watching it without things getting spoiled. So
yeah,
so that's good. Yeah, I think I have just kept up with the GTA and Minecraft stuff for AH, Achievement Hunter, and the odd Funhouse something here or there, but
fair.
See that they've returned to demo disc.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that. I think I've caught up, or I'm in the process of catching up with GTA, and that's about it for AH. Like maybe I'll watch a Play Pals every once in a while, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just in one of those periods of time where I'm just like, oh, I'm not really interested in watching stuff. There's not many games that right now are like hooking me that much.
Well, I
And
think
so just in general, I'm like, I'll just pick up guitar for a while. But yeah,
I think
it
we're
kind
in
of
that
is a lull in it.
general lull. We've had the look. Here is E3. Here is everything amazing that's going to come out. Maybe in 2018, probably in 2019, and some stuff even in 2020. And
Yeah.
there generally isn't actually that many game releases at the time of E3, which I sometimes find is like slightly bizarre. I think when Bethesda did it with like Fallout the other year, where it's just like, oh, well, it was only like Fallout Shelter, but it was like, and you can play this now. A drop like that gets people to play something. I know it's something that kind of like you have to do very hard to keep secret, and you probably couldn't do it for a full AAA game. Like that, it had to be a mobile game.
Bethesda sort of also did it again this year, but that was Fallout 4 being on Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass as well.
True.
For Fallout 4, wasn't it?
And then also the Fallout 76 that they dropped, which looks like effectively it's just going to be another like survival like multiplayer game. So your H1Z1 or your of that 7 Days to Die of that lot, which might be interesting to play. I might get it. Probably it's not really my sort of game, but depending on how well it fits into the Fallout world, I love the lore of the Fallout world, so I might be kind of playing a multiplayer game as a solo player and just so I can get and understood. They did that quite well. The thing that I find very amusing is that when all the stuff came out about what it was going to be, there was like a blog post from like April this year that somebody put up saying Bethesda are doing this, and it was like it was 100% right, but like people had just been like, like there's no way that Bethesda are doing this.
Yeah. No, I like Bethesda. What Bethesda showed. Like, I'm interested in Fallout 76. I might pick it up, but yeah. Hopefully, it's one of those games where people play to get along rather than play to just destroy other people. Though I have a feeling like that will be a theme of online lobbies. So.
Yeah, because it said something about like eventually you have like the abilities to get nukes. So it's kind of if that's the case, it's kind of like, okay, can I just have a server which is me and my own friends and just not have to deal with people like that? If that's the case, then very well pick it up. But if it's the case where you do have to be involved with said randos, it could get annoying, but it might not, depending on how the individuals who play the game.
Yeah.
Being slightly presumptuous to assume the worst of gamers, but let's just say
there's a precedent there that is based on. So yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know what else. Oh, Elder Scrolls 6 was teased as well, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was just
teased?
given. You were just given a almost like a image of like land with just Elder Scrolls 6, which was just like, okay, great,
cool. Yeah, not much.
It's
else.
just like, yeah, we are working on it, but it's not really going to come out for a while, so chin up, boys and girls. It's it'll be a while before you can explore the world of Tamriel once again.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited for whatever I saw next. Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, so you know Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna appeal to me, like no matter what. And I just like the idea that they're going through more games and more properties, and it looks to be bigger than ever. So
yeah, Kingdom Hearts is a weird one for me because I've never played it. Like I think we've probably discussed before. I had like Nintendo consoles when I was kind of growing up, so it didn't have like PlayStation or anything like that. So I knew the games like existed, but like I didn't really play them. and it didn't really kind of draw my attention towards them, even though kind of like there've been like re-releases that happen afterwards. But it has a fairly devout cult following. I would say that there are the fans are fans. If someone says they are a Kingdom Hearts fan, the person has probably played 1 and 2 like 3 or 4 times, and all the different 1.8s and 2.8s and 2.9s. They've probably played all of the updated versions that have come out and are very much in anticipation for this third installment.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm kind of like on the verge right now of being like, do I get Rachel to play through all of them so that we can enjoy it all together and have some fun? Because it's a really awesome game series and I really like playing it, but I don't know. It's something I could enjoy. Yeah, something we could probably enjoy together, like given the time frames, due out January or February next year. Yeah, so we were talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 and just everything that was going on there. I'm interested in Kingdom Hearts 3. You know, it's...
Yeah, it feels like something that I could throw my time into, but I feel like it's an investment in a lot of time because I feel you can't just jump in at 3.
I don't think
like,
you will be able to. I don't think
so. It's kind of you've got to go for 1 and 2, and I think I've seen a lot of things that you can. I think you can pre-order 3 now, and it comes with like 1 and 2. But I'm assuming that, by the fact that are they Square Enix games?
Yeah, they're Disney Square.
So they're probably
Enix,
they're Disney Square Enix. So I'm assuming they're like 20 plus, probably 40 plus hour games if you want to give them full completion.
Well, the first one would take me about 25-30 hours, and I know what I'm doing to get through the main story, but you have to grind in it to like, unless you're like really good with your dodge timing and you've chosen the right perks going into like the final few fights.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it has the real time RPG combat, doesn't
Yes, it does, yeah.
So you have like members that you control, but everything is done in real time. It's not your turn-based.
Yeah, you control one character, and you set commands for the other ones as to what they should do in certain situations. So
it's fairly similar to some of the Final Fantasy controls.
Yeah, it works. I'd say most similar to either Final Fantasy 12 or 13. 12 because it has the gambit system, and you can set like a list of things that you'd expect your character to do, and 13 where your character generally gets on with it and fulfills the role that they have. So Sora's like your main character in Kingdom Hearts. Then you've got Donald and Goofy, and Donald is like your mage, and Goofy is your, I don't know, he's kind of your tank. He's got the most health, and he has his weapon isn't a weapon, it's a shield. So yeah, but
okay.
Yeah. And then like there's some kind of role-playing elements as well at the beginning of the game where you get asked a series of questions, and if you answer and like depending on which way you answer depends on like how your XP gain is affected throughout the game, which is really quite interesting. That it takes you from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But yeah, it's an interesting game. But yeah, like I said, 25-30 hours for the first game on its own. Then you've got the second game, which is arguably bigger. I can't remember having beat it actually, but I'm sure I have, because I know I've spent so many hours playing it. And then you've got all the side games as well that have been remastered to go on your PS4 and Xbox One. I don't know if it's been released on Xbox One. Probably hasn't. But yeah, there's so many games to get through. I think there's either 6 or 7 side games that go along with it that like continue to tell the whole story. So yeah, that's a whole interesting thing. But
yeah, I think that might be one kind of like you may want to play along with somebody to kind of like to bring them along for the ride if it's kind of like if it's a long one and it's a fairly good and understandable story. and obviously because it's Disney characters as well, they're kind of like that'll grab some people's attention that wouldn't normally be brought into gaming.
Yeah. Cool. Go ahead.
So is that your biggest thing from E3, that it's got a finalized date towards Kingdom Hearts? You've got like this is actually happening.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the game that I'm looking forward to playing the most that was announced. I don't think there is anything else that's like, and I'm like, oh, I'll probably play it when it comes out. That's like the strongest feeling as I have from this E3. Which probably isn't the best, but there are games that I'm like kind of interested in playing. But you've got things like Division 2 and Forza Horizon 4 and whatever the new Gears War is that was announced. But
yeah. See, you've just named probably 3 games that I don't think I will probably ever touch.
Okay.
I think from the no, they're interesting ones. Like I played a lot of the Forza games, kind of like historically, but I think once again that's kind of like I used to have a friend who I used to play a lot of like racing games with against now, and that person doesn't really game much anymore, so kind of just put to the wayside. Yeah. But for me, the games which is just that I'm interested in is there was a rather lengthy reveal on the new Smash Brothers game for the Switch, but I think that was like 2019, so that's a little while away. Yeah. But effectively, the moment the thing said that every single character that you've ever played before in a Smash is in this game. So to me, that's kind of awesome, because I used to play with Ice Climbers quite a lot on one of the old ones, and they got taken out, and now they're in this one. So I may kind of like go back to maining them depending on how they were,
cool,
or how they are in this one. But with the Switch, it just looks like a great kind of simple way that you can play the game. That obviously kind of you've got 2 controllers automatically there.
Yeah.
So you can just toss it out. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult to control than controlling with them as just one controller, but it seemed to be you could just control with that. You've just got connect up a couple of switches, or even just connect up a couple of extra controllers, and there you've got a 4-player instantaneously. And then they showed a Mario Party, which looked really cool, which showed some potentially interesting mechanics about actually, if you have 2 switches and you have the 2 screens, you can change like a map or change the layout of something that happens, because it will go between like the 2 screens. So you could slightly change the orientation. So that seemed really interesting, that like how you put your switches together, so you could put them in an L shape, or you could make a square, or you could make like the squiggle from like Tetris. So that definitely looks interesting, and that I think there still look like there was a Bowser mode, but I didn't look into too much detail. But I hope there's just a good old fashioned like 4v4 or 4-4 or individual mode where you're just kind of going against each other, because I played a lot of that with my sister and my 2 best friends when I was younger. Mario Party was kind of the game that we played a lot. Like we destroyed N64 controllers just because of like they've been used so much and mashed so much that kind of like they were just not responsive anymore.
No.
I think we even probably got through a couple of GameCube controllers as well, because they were just destroyed.
Nice. Yeah, like I've only ever watched people play Mario Party. I've never actually played it myself, but from what I saw of, what was it, Mario Party 10, the one where they were all in the cart and it's all like cooperatively working together, I'm just like, oh, that seems quite boring in comparison to the other ones.
Yeah, that's effectively like a 3 or 4 person versus 1, so effectively like you play the whole entire game like against somebody else, which is kind of fun. But the whole point of Mario Party was, I think if you've watched like a few of the AH Let's Plays, or even the Screw Attack ones or Game Attack ones, which they did, is that you can play a game and the person who plays the game the best, probably for 18 out of the 20 turns, still might not win, just due to the game just throwing a random piece of shit in there. And it's just like it caused like moments in my my friends and with my sister where it's just like, I'm never playing this game again. This is ridiculous. Like, you got this and then this and then this, and then like next week we'd play it again, and it would just be like it would the luck of the game or the privilege would move on to somebody else, and it was just like, no, I can't believe it. But they were so much fun to play.
Nice. What else did?
And I think.
Go ahead.
The other things that popped out to me was looked like there was another Fire Emblem game, but once again, I think that's 2019. So I've played a lot of the Fire Emblem games. I quite like them. I like that. I like that mechanic, which is generally used. They brought out a Fire Emblem game, which was a Fire Emblem like Dynasty Warriors mashup, which then meant it was more real-time fighting and not like your strategic moving and kind of turn-based combat, which I quite like the turn-based combat stuff. I think we've discussed how I like XCOM, and I like the Mario Rabbids game. They're really quite good. And then I'm probably still looking forward to the Assassin's Creed game. It looked really good. It seems to be very interesting that it's almost no longer, because it said that it's before Origins, which is then just kind of okay.
Why would you call it Origins if you're going to go before it?
Well, I think from the stuff that I've seen is the fact that there is still the today time element to the game. So there is still somebody like going into memories to look and find something.
Yeah.
So I think you'll still have some sort of precursor technology or that is involved, and that's probably what will actually be looking for. But it seemed to be, I don't know if it was meant to be an Assassin's Creed game or not, but they've continued their movement towards RPG instead of like your traditional Assassin's Creed game. So there seem to be a lot of choices about combat. There's a lot of choices. You actually have choices when you speak to people, which is very interesting. If kind of like this is still obviously supposed to have played in like memory, so people somehow probably should still get to a similar conclusion by the end of the game.
Yeah.
But there are maybe some nuances and differences in the middle of how you get to there, or maybe which side you end up with to get to there.
Yeah.
But it looked interesting, and it looked as beautiful as ever. And those, they haven't said anything about it, but if it has a fairly similar thing to what it had with the Egyptian one, where it had the tour stuff, which they added in to show you around it, then if it's done that with the Greek stuff as well, then that'll be a good maybe 5 to 10 hours of not even playing a game, just walking around learning more stuff.
Yeah. There's it looks good. I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, I'm looking forward to it. I didn't play the last one, but I watched someone play the whole way through it, so we'll see how that goes. But maybe I'll be able to see people play through it, but I don't know. It's not the worst. But yeah.
And I think.
Go ahead.
I think otherwise, then you've got Last of Us 2, which is.
I was just about to mention that.
Which is kind of okay. I don't really want to see much more about what's going to happen with it, to be perfectly honest, because I know it's going to be a fairly story-driven, like, probably a fairly linear story-driven gameplay, and I don't want to know anything before I play it, because I want the first one was such a good game, and the storyline drove really well, like her and Joel's interactions that you get throughout the game, and like their growth and their development and how things ended up, I thought were beautifully written. So I really don't want to get anything spoiled. So it's kind of, I know it's coming. I did see the trailer, so I did see kind of like the bit from the barn and the bit of a gameplay bit where it looked quite open-winded about what you could or couldn't do. Like in that gameplay, it seemed to be a lot of like switching between weapons, like stabbing people, like hiding underneath like vehicles. So it looks like there may be various ways to kind of get through certain paths, which would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping, like, I don't know, I'm hoping there's areas where, yeah, you can stealth through entirely and not have to resort to combat.
To be fair, all I'll ask for is a knife which doesn't break.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. Yeah. I'd forgotten about that entirely, and then you said it. Oh my god, yeah. That was a ludicrous mechanic, but it did make you focus on resources. So what I don't know.
To be fair, I think with that game though, like, I much as enjoyed the storyline, there were moments where I put that game down and I didn't play it for weeks because I got frustrated. Because there were times where you pretty much had to try and stealth your way through, and it was very hard and very difficult to stealth your way through. But if you occasionally had enough ammo to kind of go apeshit once, so you kind of had you had to pick or choose your moment of like when you decided, well, F this stealth, I'm gonna go apeshit and I'm gonna like just destroy absolutely everything that comes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah.
But I thought you only got one. Like, you could build up enough resources to do that once. You never really kind of like had enough resources to do it a second time.
No. Yeah, no. It's all about resource management and just, yeah, everyone was scarce. It's a good game, very enjoyable. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. So we'll see how that goes. What do you make of Cyberpunk 2077?
It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it looked. I couldn't say anything more. Like the sci-fi, the cyberpunk is a. I love like Blade Runner, and like I've read like all of like the Duane Retrieve the Electric Sheep, all of Asimov and all of like Philip K. Dick. So kind of that scientific world where it's slightly in the future and the thing is twisted in a way, shape or form, like that to me is like that is my niche that I love. So
fair enough.
I love the.
It's going to appeal to you.
Yeah, it was always going to appeal to me. The fact that I think they pretty much come out and said that it is a purely single player like as well, to me just looks like I'll get it. I might not get it when it drops. But it's definitely something that I will pick on my way through. I think I will probably leave it for a couple of months, or maybe a month, just to let the bugs run through, because I can imagine that there will be some with such a big project and such a different project to what they've ever done before. Obviously, with doing Witcher 3, they kind of did something on a fairly massive scale, but I expect it to be slightly different.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm looking forward to it. It looks cool. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about it than that, other than I saw the trailer and I was like, cool. This seems like a game I would enjoy.
I saw like 2 minutes of a trailer and I was like, yeah, this. I'm in. I'm not watching any more of this. I'm not watching any like. I've seen like there are like first 50-minute stuff up that you can watch, and they did that during like E3, and I was just like, no. I'm not going to spoil anything for that. That definitely looks like a game that I would interest me, so I don't want to know any more about it, which is hard. yeah, absolutely. What about Anthem? Multiplayer, EA, questionable, but purely PvE, so player versus environment rather than any PvP, and cooperative game. I don't know what to make of Anthem. I think there are things that look like I want to enjoy it, but I'm just so cautious. Like they fecked up Mass Effect to no end.
Yeah.
Like, and it was buggy as shit. Even though, like, personally, my playthrough, apart from the fact that I maybe couldn't design my character the way I wanted to because there was an issue with the faces to start off with, my gameplay was not actually that buggy. I think there was one mission that I couldn't play through because I accidentally managed to kill somebody earlier on, which was a glitch, but it's one side mission that I couldn't do. Didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
But I feel that it could be very much like Destiny, that if you don't get in the game, if you do not buy the game in like the first 2 or 3 weeks and get into it straight away, I think you could be left behind everybody else and everything else that is going on, because I feel it's going to be an episodic or season sort of game where more things will drop and more things will drop. And I think that you have to devote a certain amount of time to it each week, which is probably something that I can't do or don't really want to do, to have to kind of force myself to say, like, I want to play, I have to play like 2 hours this game to make sure that I keep up to date or all of the latest perks.
Yeah, I think they were saying something about having a new story mission every week, and that would just continue on. And whether that would be available afterwards or not is still not known, which seems a bit ludicrous. But I reckon it would just be a continuing story that seems to expand week by week. But yeah,
and then it gets to the point of, so have I spent £60 on a game, and now do I need to buy like a season pass to this game? And will there be a certain point where I'll need to then buy another game or another season pass? Kind of like, I don't know, with stuff with Destiny, where it's kind of you end up spending like 150 quid on a game.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of content that's there, but it feels that it's content that means you have to be basically available to play regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a downside of it right now, that there is you need to pay to get into so much of it. So it's just unfortunate.
And I think obviously kind of like Destiny has its core following, and you could probably know better than me that kind of like there is that, especially like for Destiny 2, it probably seems to be an even smaller core following, but it has its core and it can probably still operate and run and make money with the core that it has.
Yeah.
For Anthem to come out, really, it's got to probably attract some of the players that played Destiny 1 and aren't playing Destiny 2 now. So it can grab some of those people. It probably has got to try and take some of the people away from Destiny 2.
Yep.
But I think to be successful, it's got to take away from people who are playing like Fortnite and people who are playing COD and that lot, because you do have, it is going to be a first-person shooter. It is going to be, or a third-person shooter, because you can sometimes, when you're in the suits or whatever, you can do all that. So that is it. I think they has to be like their target audience. That has to be who they're aiming to get, and I'm just not certain if they can do it. Yeah,
that's fair.
I did like that. It seemed to be that there were like the 4 different suits, like that you could wear and fly around in, and you weren't limited to one suit. From what I read, that you were effectively like you had like all of the suits, and you choose like on which mission. I'm going to take this suit out on this mission, which seemed good to me, because I found that especially in I think when I played Destiny a bit, like you choose a character.
That's your character.
That's your character. Like, there are some slight subclasses within that character, but it's kind of like, you are this character for the rest of the game. Giving people the ability to switch between, like, tank and support and sniper and kind of, like, DPS seems like it will make people continue to play the game a little bit more, because you maybe don't quite have the same monotony. But then that, on the reverse side, that potentially means that if you want to have everything for all of those characters, that may mean more that you have to play each week to make sure that you have everything.
yeah, absolutely. So you've mentioned it, and it's the last game I kind of wanted to touch on, but Call of Duty Black Ops 4 going away from like story content and going to just pure PvP, which is kind of like...
Well, I think... I don't know. It's well, you probably got to look at how many people play it. They probably know like how many people put time into the actual single player compared to the multiplayer, and if it was 10% of the time played on that game, I would be amazed. Like,
oh yeah, like people buy it for the PvP. Like, there's no point including it, but given how good Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare was, and that this year's Black Ops 4 is coming from Treyarch again, it's kind of like, oh, what have Treyarch done? Because they did probably the best, arguably the best Call of Duty campaign that there's been. Yeah. I'm just a bit shocked.
It is... it is an interesting one. Like I perfectly understand why they've done it.
Mhm.
I drifted away probably after Modern Warfare 2 from playing games like that. So
Yeah, same here, I
they
think.
they lost, and effectively I was effectively a single player and a few bit of multiplayer with some friends who kind of like to play it. So
Mhm.
I jumped off from the single player a long time ago. So I think they know what they're just working on their market. They've got to. I actually don't know much about it, but I'm assuming they've said that there's going to be a battle royale mode. I would be amazed if there.
I think they have, yeah.
If they haven't, then it'll be announced before the game comes out. Like they have to take people away from Fortnite. Like it is utterly ridiculous to think that a free game, which was a spin-off of a failure, is now effectively the most popular game in the world.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
And because it has season passes and because it has what's cosmetic content that you can purchase,
Mhm.
I was looking at the numbers that has been spent on Fortnite, and it was astronomical. It's not quite up there in like GTA 5 that it still make, but it was something like it made like 300 million in a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, GTA 5 was still making like $500 million.
Yeah.
But it's still
it's
just
ludicrous.
like, you're just like, this is a free game.
Yep.
A
Mhm.
free game, and I think the season pass is the only thing that you actually have to buy if you want to get involved in certain things that can get you new cosmetics. So you don't even need to have the season pass to play the game online. So the freemium is sadly where I think games are going. So
Yeah.
but I think there's enough people still making single player content that we can be happy with that for a while. I don't think that'll disappear anytime soon. I just think that you'll get a fairly disparate split between here's like your freemium games and here are your more single player driven games.
Yeah. 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 That's fair enough. Fair enough. Are there any other games that you want to touch on at all?
There's probably one left, which is the one which I still have absolutely no idea what the game is about, and that is obviously Death Stranding. Where it's kind of it's like, you gave us more, you gave us another, and now there are two other famous actors and actresses in it, which I've quite liked their work, so it's kind of when they've acted in films, television, or games before, so I'm like, there is an incredibly large amount of talent going on here. There seemed to be a very interesting mechanic about things that are invisible or maybe in a different spectrum, and the whole idea of having to creep around and kind of see or not see what's going on, and so that it all was interesting. It all had my attention to go like, what the F is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, I would quite like to know anything about this game because I still have absolutely no idea what this game is about. I mean, it's still got Kojima, it's still got no date, so we're talking 2020 at best. That we'll get more stuff teased next year. I doubt it'll have a date even at E3 next year, but we'll see more. We might get a little bit of gameplay, and then kind of like probably even more at like E3 the year afterwards. So you're looking at maybe late 2020, maybe 2021. But it's kind of everybody kind of wants to play it because you are the guy who masterminded the Metal Gear like franchise. You produced a fantastic set of games, and you've effectively been told, or you've set up your own production company, and they've just been like, yeah, you can make what you want. So these could potentially be one of the greatest games of all time, or it could be one of the greatest mindfucks of all time, where it's kind of like you play this game and you have absolutely no idea what's going on. It's like Silent Hill or whatever, where you sometimes like, you play some of these games and you're just like, when you see a dog controlling it all at the end or whatever, it's just kind of like, excuse me, what? What have I just played?
Fair enough. Cool, yeah. No, I haven't really followed anything to do with Death Stranding, so I'm kind of useless on any information related to it, but well.
But there isn't. That's the point, you're not useless. You're in the same
fair
position
enough,
as everybody else
Yeah,
who's watched as much as they can.
Fair enough. Cool.
There are theories out of the everybody's anuses, but there isn't actually any
any real proof
stuff to go on.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, Russell, where can we find you across the internet?
You can find me across pretty much all gaming platform at Rustman2K, and then
Cool.
my Twitter handle is at @isum.
Awesome, awesome. I can be found across the internet at DestroyTop or at Etherfar. Thanks for being my guest this week, Russell.
Thanks for having me, good sir.
You're welcome, and thank you everyone for listening. Have an exciting week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.